I like this particular segment because then I get to have conversations with people. They got me on when I was still having a conversation with our guest this particular morning. And of course, like I hinted on earlier, we're looking at the examinations period. Yes, people give reasons. Teachers are not paid well, teachers this, teachers that. But it's still your responsibility as a parent, it's your responsibility as a teacher, even as a student, because then I wouldn't be proud, I think, if results came and I went through and I know I cheated. I would know that, along the way it wouldn't be, the inner guilt most likely, I would assume. But this particular morning, because I know that the senior 4 students are already doing the exams, this is day 2. With me in studios is Jennifer Kalule Musamba, who is the Principal Public Relations Officer, and of course, from Uganda National Examination Board. So we're going to be having basically a discussion, in regards to generally the exam period, exam time, and it's a process because then you have the mocks, then you have the what. So they, at the end of the day, do their bid, their responsibility as Uganda National Examination Board, and these are the people that we always run to at the end of the day. I lost to this, I lost that, I need to, because the qualifications, as much as people are saying the papers are not enough, the qualifications in this day and age are very, very important, people, because we're coming from an age where people think you need to be knowledgeable, at least you need to have training and and things like that. So it's very, very important. You're very welcome.
Thank you, and thanks for inviting me.
Yes.
Good morning, viewers.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm a bit passionate about this because how I grew up, we're told education is very important, even as much as people are sort of saying it's not enough to have a paper, it's not enough to have this, but I feel still you need to have a knowledgeable population, at the end of the day, so that it can help people know how to work around things. But first of all, tell us about Uganda National Examination Board. That may seem like a very simple question, but yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, and thanks for inviting me. Well, the Uganda National Examinations Board, in short UNEB, is our main mandate basically is to conduct valid, reliable, equitable and quality assessment of the achievement of learners at primary level and secondary school level, and this is for the award of certificates. And award of certificates, we do this professionally and innovatively. In other words, we keep innovating, we keep adjusting, and our vision basically is to be a recognized center of globally competitive and education assessment, assessment and certification. We purpose to ensure that our certificates are nationally and internationally recognized. So if you left this country and you went to apply for a job anywhere or to go and study elsewhere and you have a UNEB certificate, we don't want your certificate to be queried. We want everybody to see UNEB certificates, certificates from Uganda, they are credible. So we strive to ensure that our certificates are credible internationally and even nationally. So if any of our people who are passed through our systems have got to go anywhere on the globe, they can be able to receive the service they need without being questioned.
Okay, that's quite interesting. Now, examinations have started. Take us through, the timetables, rather, the different classes, if we look at Senior 4, P7 and Senior 6. Okay.
This is the second week running for the Senior 4 candidates, that is UCE. We've mainly had practical exams. They are going on. Right now, they are having they're having biology, and then in the afternoon they'll be having agriculture, which is basically practical. And so they are going on. We are grateful to God by this far. We have not got any major malpractices. All has been good. We've had tight security around the examinations. We've had a lot of support from the media, positive media coverage, from the teachers, from the parents. So far, so good. We have no major instances of examination malpractice. Of course, there are those scattered instances, like we had an incident of impersonation in, I think in Pakwash. We got them. Our scouts are very tight. And then that was the instance we got, I think, of impersonation, somebody trying to sit for another person in an examination.
That is huge.
So we got them, and we haven't gotten any major case. Really, it's mostly the leakage, which can be very dangerous. If an exam leaks, for instance, between the transportation process, and it leaks and pictures are taken, it's all over WhatsApp, say
Now it's easy to trace the source because, hey,
yeah, and
it comes back to you.
Yeah, it will get back to you eventually. But we are very tight. Our systems are very tight right now, and we've managed to control it this far. We thank God for the grace, and we are sure that all is going to go on well. And the P7 candidates briefing is going to be on the 1st of November, and they will begin sitting their exams on the 4th and 5th of November. And then for the S6, for UACE, briefing is going to be on the 8th of November, and then they'll sit their exams starting with 11th of November. So that is basically the overview of the examination process.
That's very good. Now, we did hint on the issue of malpractice. So why are we seeing this sort of things happening? Many people have given their reasons. You know, the teachers are looking for a plan B, you know, extra.
That's the wrong plan B, and it actually it's good.
And then there's competitiveness in schools. But why, you know, some of the things, I'm sure you've done a little bit of your research to see why these trends keep happening.
First of all, maybe let me tell you that this year, our theme, every year UNEP has a theme for the examinations.
Yes.
And our theme this year actually is running since last year. The theme is integrity and security in the management of examinations. Is my responsibility, is also your responsibility out there. And we realize that at the end of the day, integrity is very critical. All these things, because for instance, during this process, UNEP contracts over 100,000 people in the entire process. Those are so many. We have we are the team at UNEP, the secretariat, about 200 people. So we can't do the exams ourselves. So we are relying on the integrity of the people out there. This is very critical. And what we are saying is that it is everybody's responsibility. People have this tendency of thinking that that's the business of UNEP. Thank you so much. It is our main mandate, but it is equally your responsibility. Because at the end of the day, like we are saying, we are going to award certificates which are going to determine the future of generations, the future of the children of who are going to be future leaders, future managers, future journalists, future doctors, future lawyers. So we have to make sure that the certificates they get are credible and that they've gone through a process that is credible and reliable. That is why we are saying it is everybody's responsibility. We want everybody to take it upon themselves as their responsibility. If you suspect something is happening, please do report to us. If you think that, if you suspect maybe there's impersonation, for instance, you can know somebody. Like usually, like doing S4 candidates are sitting right now. Somebody can get an S6 candidate to sit for them. Or even PLE, they can get an S3 or whatever to sit for a P7 candidate. And you may know about this as somebody, you may get to know about this. We tell you, please do inform us, because at the end of the day, if we find out, and we are likely to find out because we are our ears on the ground, if we find out, we can cancel all the exams for the center. And this can affect multitudes of people. It will affect all the candidates, it will affect the parents. It will affect even, you know, the time is wasted. If you're supposed to begin working in 5 years' time, then you won't begin working. So the labor force, there's delay in the labor force. So even the employers, the best engineer is supposed to have received maybe around this time is going to remain in school for a longer period. So there are all those processes.
And we end up having people in the workforce that are used to shortcuts, you know.
Also, you know, because we can't afford to have a generation. Because if we do not control malpractice, then you are going to have people getting used to buying their way out. They will be lazy by the way, because if students know that they are going to be given the papers, they will not read. So they will know after all we are going to get the sassis, like we used to call them, the bullets, you know. But it's becoming very tight right now. You can't get them. Believe me, this time around, you can't get bullets. Odongo has been very harsh this time, and people are saying, this Odongo man, and they are saying, yeah, that is what we needed. Because we want to make sure that everybody has been equitably assessed. We want to make sure that there's a fair ground for everyone, not for one group of people to have access to the exams before the others. And we are encouraging the teachers out there, the best thing to do is teach through the syllabus. Don't teach for exams purposes. Teach for learning purposes. Make sure that the children go through the entire syllabus. When you've done that, give them time to revise, and then let them be assessed, and let their best competencies come out, and then we shall get the best out of it. So you know when somebody comes out and they are a journalist, then you know, yes, they are credible. When they come out and they are a doctor, you are sure this is a doctor who is going to work on me. This is a gynecologist whom you are sure has passed through a credible system, and you're sure you can, you can entrust your life with them. That's the whole idea. And that's why you are saying it is everybody's responsibility. Because you may think that does not concern me, but somebody out there is going to become a doctor when actually they did not qualify to be a doctor, and they're going to treat you, they're going to treat your daughter, they're going to do all sorts of things in your life. So they're going to be the presidents, they're going to be the managers. So we need to be concerned. A lot of corruption. Because this is national examination, it's national assessment, basically.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, so what we're seeing is we've been struggling to bring back the discussion of integrity, to remind people that they need to find the goodness in them, if I could use those words. And this, I think, has been the gap, and I like that probably you decided, let's remind these people of what integrity is like, of why they should be. But why is this important to you? Why is it very critical?
Integrity.
As UNEB, yes.
It's very critical for us because, like we have said, UNEB is the only national assessment body that we have in this country. It's the basically it begins for for secondary and for primary school level. Then at other levels we have like the UBTEB, we have other colleagues, we have the universities and all that. But before you get there, you need to start with this level. So we need to make sure that the process is credible, that everybody is assured that if somebody has gone through the UNEB process, then their certificates are credible. That is very important for us. But like I said, integrity, because along the way, when we are sending people, for instance, transportation, for instance, we are transporting exams from our factory to the various districts. The person transporting these exams, okay, there are various checks, and we have various measures. They go with security people. No one travels alone. You have the security people, you have the driver, and then you have the distributor who is there. And then you're just traveling, taking the examinations, but you don't have the keys. Somebody else has got the keys, and 4 other people have got the keys. So it's a chain of people, but all of them have got to have strong integrity levels. Otherwise, if they do not have strong integrity levels, they can say to connive and get these exams out there. So it's very critical, and we are saying it is everybody's responsibility at whatever level you may be. The security, for instance, if you see somebody trying to transport exams and they are not they're not being escorted with the security person, then you try to be concerned and say, why is this? Why is somebody carrying an envelope of UNEB exams? Where are they taking them? So be concerned about that. If the impersonation, for instance, somebody sitting on behalf of another person, please be concerned. After briefing, there should be no classes. If you realize a school is teaching candidates after briefing, please alert us. You are sure something is happening. We have a whistleblowers policy, so let us know whether it's correct or not. We shall do our bit. So it's very critical for us to make sure that we get everybody involved, and that everybody acknowledges that they need to do their bit, and that at the end of the day, you have to be somebody of high integrity.
So you're involving the teachers, the students, and of course the parents.
The parents, the media people, the general public, the neighborhood. In our communities, people know everything about ourselves. People know things about, you can really know. You can know, so-and-so's child is going to sit for so-and-so. Some people will get to know the information because we live in a community setup. Fine, in the cities, it may be people don't even talk to their neighbors or something like that. But largely, people know about it. Even in the school, people would know. Even the P4 child will know that, hey, by then my sister is going to sit for so-and-so. They would know about, so kindly alert us. It's very critical. Because at the end of the day, once we get to know, then the consequences are really going to be very harsh, because we can cancel the exams for the entire center, and we don't want to do that.
We've seen that.
But we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that, really.
That is very true. Okay, so very interesting here. So what happens, after all of this is said and done, and probably we are looking at certain students. You know, last year people came out and said, well, our students can't sit the exams because we weren't able, some of us are poor parents, we're not economically stable, things like that. How are you handling cases like this? How are you working with the schools to see that some of the students can actually sit the exams? Because as a school, because see, it's you haven't paid your fees. Some schools are actually more commercial than you can imagine. You won't even at least sit for the exam, as you know, we find a way of you paying. And yes, it might be true that maybe certain parents, once the child has sat the exams, there's no way they're going to pay. But how about they sit the exams and then maybe later on the time of getting their results, that's when you can actually say, well, hey, you need to pay my money first. How have you worked anyway?
Okay, first and foremost, well, for us,
with the schools, maybe.
Yeah, for us, what happens is that for us we deal with the schools. First, as a parent, it is your responsibility to make sure that you go to a school which is affordable, according to your means. Don't overstretch. It is very critical for you to go to a school which is which you can afford. And then towards exams, discuss the modalities with the head teachers. Let them know, this is how I want, this is how I'm going to be able to. If you've been a parent for some time already, there should be some mechanism, but would encourage you as much as possible to make sure you've paid all the dues by the time of the UNEB exams.
Because it may not turn out good.
Because for us, we deal with the schools, and now if the school says we want to register in candidate X, then there was no way we can register them. However, now like this time, we try to make sure, we send out alerts to make sure, let every parent ensure that their child is registered. Putting the index number, send an SMS to 6600, confirm that your child has been registered. And we thank God we've not got so many cases. We had a unique case of Mitoma, but thank God by God's grace it was sorted. So we hope all the candidates have been able to do exams. Those who are registered, basically. Now, the issue of school fees, we encourage the parents to discuss with the teachers as much as possible. Discuss with the head teachers. If you have registered and maybe, because now maybe you have not paid the school fees, then they can maybe hold the results or something like that. But it should be an amicable discussion, basically. We encourage them to try and pay as much as possible, but most importantly, try and make sure you go to a school which you can afford. Yeah.
Okay, that's very good. Well,
because we have the USE, we have the Universal Secondary Education schools, we have the UPE schools. They have the basic services, really. And they perform well, by the way, surprisingly. They do perform quite
also
well.
The schools that do quite well are the traditional, you know.
I like traditional.
Yeah.
Traditional does it so well. Actually, for me, I go for traditional. Really, I go for traditional.
Instead of, you know, because now we're in a setup of very commercialized education
and that
system.
commercialized system also is very dangerous. People want to be shown on UBC that you got, I don't know how many fours, how many super grades, and that is what actually was getting us to most of this malpractice. Because they're like, if I can get some 5 super grades, if I can get some 2 or 3
then I'll have more people come to my school.
Then I'll have more people come to my school. And that is why we actually have more, at PLE level, it's very tight. We've actually tightened it harder, basing on the technology. We are also going higher in technology. So we are making sure that there's going to be no malpractice at all, because we are making it tighter as well. Because there are so many primary schools coming up, most of them are private, and because they are relying on the performance, basically the performance, UNEB performance kind of determine the people who are going to come to your school, so they do their best to try and cheat exams. But this time around, it's not going to happen.
Easy for them,
And in case it happens, we have, if you're caught, by the way, let's say, let me give you an example like copying. If you're caught copying, and if you've been, let's say I've been copying from you, and you don't know, if in case we are caught, even if you don't know that I was copying from you, you're also charged.
Oh dear. So you need to be very, alert
make sure
about what's happening
you
around
need to be very alert. And we have our scouts in there, we have the invigilators, we have the people in the exams there to make sure that none of this happens. But if it happens, we have very tight charges. We have the UNEB bill, which is going to be tabled before Parliament very soon. The Honourable Minister for Education, Honourable Mrs. Janet Museveni, has already tabled it before Cabinet, and very soon to be appearing before Parliament. And in that bill, we are putting very high charges. If you're caught in any form of malpractice, it's 10 years imprisonment. A sentence of 10 years imprisonment. So you have to think about, is it really worth it before you do it? Or you have to pay or a fine of 10 million shillings, or both. So you really have to think very hard before you get into malpractice. And it's not worth it.
Now, earlier on, we were looking at one of our local stories here, local reports, and something that was pointed at or looked at. One of the young ladies comes out and said, you know, you can have the papers, but it's not enough. It's not going to get you anywhere until you have the skills. Now, I want you to address this, you know, as you know, while you present UNEB. And we had this conversation before we went on air and said, well, what's happening? Because, and then you said, but we do have some of these things.
Yeah, we do.
You know, please let's have this discussion. And I think that's why we're seeing many schools ignoring these important things of skilling our young people, because they're focused on, we need to get an A. Yeah, you know, I don't know how many A's we're supposed to get. So they forget that there's certain things within school that probably some of us had a chance to do growing up, or maybe, I don't know about this era. And then they're focusing more on this paper, that paper, we need to get A's in this grade, you know, something like that. Please, let's have that discussion.
First and foremost, we, like I said, we have some practical papers for skilling. We have entrepreneurship, for instance. We have this afternoon, S4 candidates are going to be doing agriculture. We have home economics. We have even art, even fine art, by the way. You can do the batiks. And the batiks, these days, they sell like hotcake, you know. So those are all great things. So we encourage them. So we have the skilling. We have the skilling, and maybe we won't get it there, but we at least have some subjects. I think what we need to do, for instance, as a country maybe, or as a system, we need to, as a parent, for instance, it begins at home. Can you identify the talents of your child? If your child seems to be a designer, can you assist them? Can you get them during their holidays, get them to do some bit of designing, maybe designing clothes, go to tailoring or something like that? If they are musicians, then let them go and sing in church, let them go and do praise and worship, and then that way they are going to be developing their talent, let them go, so that kind of thing. Let's help the student to identify their talents. And when they do that, we can help them then develop the skills thereafter. But others, academically, we try to do our best. We have those subjects. And I think we need to encourage our students in schools to make sure they do at least a paper, to take a paper which is practical, actually, which has some basic skills. And then most schools these days have farms. You can have some farms, so we have agriculture. They can have tailoring sessions. I think it's about being innovative.
So you can pick one that you feel you fall in. If I can't do agriculture or anything else,
I can do home economics,
probably go
I can do agriculture, I can do designing, I
so
can
they
do
pick
tailoring.
where they really follow lie.
Yeah, and I think it's about being innovative now, because then the computer skills also are very critical also these days. The computer skills, most schools have computer
And that's what
skills.
I was asking. Just like we have some compulsory, you know, like now we have, you either do sub-math or computer as a must, you know, for the A-level students. Is that something that can probably be done in maybe O-level, since it's longer years, where maybe, like you mentioned, tailoring, the arts, or, you know, whatever it is, agriculture, anything, so that at least a student can pick one, as not necessarily forced to do all of them, but you say, well, if you can't do agriculture or the other, at least pick one. And since there are multiple, someone can say, well, I think I'm into designing, let me go do the designing class, which will be examinable at the end of the day.
Well, I think that it's about guiding. One, we need a policy. Right now, we wouldn't say it's compulsory. And right now, there's a promotion of the science subjects, but we're equally promoting also the arts as well, depending basically on the capabilities. That's why we need to work together with the teachers as parents to help our children do their best, really. If you think a child has their biggest potential in sciences, let them do sciences. If they have their potential in the arts, then let them do the arts. But we need to guide them. Career guidance is very critical.
Is that something that still happens?
It does. Yes, it does. I mean,
I've met so many young people that are not even aware at that point what they want to do in
what
their
they
lives,
want to do,
or what they want to do for A-level alone, just that.
Yes,
and
I
like,
hear you.
well, along the way we'll see. And you're thinking, well, don't you have like career guidance sessions in school? And you know, I think, though, what I know is that many people come and say, well, I think the best thing to do in science is not knowing someone's potential. Yeah.
And that's why we're telling the teachers, because that is part and parcel of the curriculum, basically. We should be able to guide our learners to be able to choose the best subjects for them according to their capabilities, according to their competencies, and then guide them accordingly. And that's why you're saying, don't just teach for exams. Because if you're just teaching to pass your NEB exams, then maybe you will just be about, your focus will be on them passing the NEP exams without necessarily you thinking about what are their best competencies, what can they deliver best. So we need to make sure we do that. We want to appeal to our teachers, please help our learners get the best out of their learners.
Okay. So, Jennifer, final words to the people that are watching us out there.
Okay, thank you so much. We'd like to thank so much the members of the public who have been very vigilant so far in alerting us in terms of malpractice. We've gotten some alerts, and thank you so much. I want to thank the security agencies. They have been really, really good. This far, the Lord has brought us, we say, Ebenezer. This is the second week, and we are like, oh no, no malpractice. I'd like to say thank you to all the scouts out there who are in the field. They've braved the heavy rains, the bad roads to make sure that exams are safe. They arrive on time. In Eastern Uganda, it was really bad. It was flooding, but all exams were done on time. Western Uganda, same thing. Exams were done on time. I want to say thank you so much to everybody out there, the NEP scouts out there at your various levels. We bless God for you. The security agencies, thank you very much for doing the great work. The parents, thanks for taking the children to school in time. The teachers, thanks for the job well done. And to the public, you've all been great, and want to ask you to please keep being vigilant. The media people, you've been wonderful. We have positive media coverage. Encourage us, encourage the people. Let's have positive coverage, and we're saying that it's everybody's responsibility. The security and integrity of examinations is everyone's responsibility, not just for UNEB, but for all of us, basically because the certificates which come out of this process are going to affect the future of this nation. And we are saying, in case you realize anything, please do call us. You can call me on 0772 336 224, or you can call the manager examinations. He's on 0772 625 154. Or you can call for PLE, you can call Madame Rose Mokasa. She's on 0772 462 507.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. Jennifer Kalule Musamba, who is the Principal Public Relations Officer at Uganda National Examination Board. I made sure this time I said it correctly.
Yeah, that's okay. Thanks for hosting me. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you for your time. And of course, these things are very important to us. One wonder why we're talking examinations, but hey, we all know this is the one way to most people seeking employment, finding what to do, and you need to have these qualifications. And she did talk about the issue of skilling, which they're trying to do, hopefully even better ways in the future to make sure that our young people are quite skilled in different things, quite diverse. Well, thank you so much for your time, my dear. And my time has run out. So Monday to Friday, same time. My name is Rowena Kajumba. For me and the team, have yourselves a lovely day.